Very good evening. You're watching India Debates. I'm Rahul Shivshankar. It's a competition between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi to live in denial over poverty. If Rahul Gandhi has famously said, and I quote, that poverty is a state of mind and if one possesses self-confidence, then one can overcome poverty, end quote, then the Modi government has outdone him today. In a shocking disregard for the material condition of the poor, Modi's government has said that you aren't poor in Gujarat if you earn rupees 11 or more. Of course, the Congress didn't waste any time in targeting Modi over his remark. The central refrain was, if the BJP can attack us for mocking the poor, for setting the poverty line at rupees 32, then it should ask its own leader to apologize for setting the bar at a ridiculous, insulting rupees 11. What the parties, however, fail to understand is that it's not about statistics. There will always be statistics. The point is how the insulting rupees 11. What the parties, however, fail to understand is that it's not about statistics. There will always be statistics. The point is how the parties are insensitively using poverty as a tool to settle political scores. This is the central debate. And we will be asking direct questions tonight to both the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress. C.R.Kesavan, the spokesperson of the Congress, here with us this evening. Sunit Chopra, senior leader of the CPM, will be with us in just a few moments. Mr. Deeptosh Majumdar, national affairs editor of NewsX, here with us in our studios. Santosh Mehrotra, DG IMR, Planning Commission, with us. The Planning Commission is going to play quite a role in this debate because the BJP has come out and said that their figures were based on Planning Commission numbers. Also joining us, Mr. Jayanarayan Vyas, senior leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and Dr. Shambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, who's staying on for this debate. Let me first ask Mr. Jayanarayan Vyas of the Bharatiya Janata Party some straight questions. How is the BJP differentiating itself from the Congress, Mr. Vyas? You have accused the Congress of mocking the poor by coming out with other statistics, with other poverty line figures, but you don't hold back. In fact, you brought the bar down by almost 20 rupees. Dr. Vyas?
So first of all, Rahul, we will have to understand that no more the benefits which are available to the poverty segment in Gujarat are income-linked benefits. We have asset-linked benefit poverty assistance program, which is as per the guidelines of Ministry of Rural Development, where they have given 0 to 16 point is considered to be below poverty line, and that is asset-based. If you are staying in a kacha house, you don't have electricity, you don't have water connection, you don't have drainage, you don't have a fan, you don't have television, then there are certain indicators by virtue of which you qualify irrespective of income. So first of all, let me make very clear that
Vyas,
these benefits are delinked from the income limit.
No, Mr. Vyas,
so
we will look at the statistical. No, 1 minute, Mr. Vyas.
With that,
Mr. Vyas, we will look at the statistical aspects, please. We will look at the statistical aspects of this debate in just a few moments. I want to focus on a larger question, a more rhetorical question, which the Congress is asking this evening. They're saying, okay, the BJP comes out with all guns blazing when we put out BPL figures pegged to rupees 32, but have no compunctions about going to town with their rupees 11 poverty line because it makes Mr. Modi look good. He can go out there and say that he's brought down poverty in his state, that such few people require handouts from the state. Why did he even need to go down this route? Mr. Vyas.
See, precisely, Rahul, that's what I'm telling you. It's not the rupee limit by which we are going. And I definitely stand by my words that there's no limit of 32 rupees or 42 rupees can define you as a poor, because even locations variance can make the poverty line steep here and there. So we have the poverty line defined by the definition which is altogether different. It's not income linked. It is asset linked poverty line. which is different.
No. Let me tell you. No, let me tell you.
And there are 22
Let me tell you, sir.
who are asset-linked poverty deprivation line. Now,
Yes.
over and above that, now understand this is very interesting phenomena that somebody is staying in a jogi jhompadpatti. Still, you know, in these days, it is not uncommon to have a electricity supply.
No,
in your house,
Mr. Vyas,
or
1 minute. Let me
have
just
a
come in
small
here. Mr.
television
Vyas,
set working in your
you know,
house.
this is what your
So
circular
this
said.
will be totally, I mean, by this one indicator, you will go out of this poverty
No,
line.
okay.
So
No, 1 second.
additionally,
I think...
we have added this planning commission's criteria that all right, over and above this.
Yes, let's get back to the planning commission circular. Now, what does it say? The circular reportedly said that those earning rupees 10.80 paisa, 10 rupees and 80 paisa or below per day, earning, mind you, not consuming, worth a certain amount, but earning a certain amount per day in rural areas, and those earning 16 rupees 70 paisa or below per day in urban areas would be considered below poverty line. That is what your circular says, and you based it on the National Sample Survey data, the state-wise poverty lines, based on the NSSO data of 1999-2000, which is exactly the same, overlooking the revisions. Why? If not to make your government look better, to burnish Mr. Modi's development record.
No, Rahul, this is what precisely I am telling you. That these families do not say, suppose somebody is staying in a jogi which is qualifying for this 0 to 16 limit. Their income may be 10,000 rupees. That is not the criteria. If he doesn't have a pakka house, if he doesn't have a fan, if he doesn't have electricity, if he doesn't have water connection,
I'm
he
going to bring in
qualifies
Mr.
under this
Mehrotra.
Ministry of Rural Development definition.
I'm going to bring in
and
Mr. Mehrotra
we give
first.
all the benefits to them as far as the food subsidy is concerned. So it has no linkage with the income. 10 rupees, 12 rupees or whatever you are talking about is not the material fact. Then comes part 2, which has created this debate. Part 2 is, even in these cases, we started getting the representation that somebody is staying even in the jogi jhoppadpatti, has a small television set. He goes out of this limit. And therefore, additionally, we made this qualification criteria that all right, as per the planning commission, whatever they are
No,
suggesting,
sir.
we will add food subsidy.
Mr. Vyas. Mr. Vyas. No, 1 minute.
Also,
I just want to bring in the expert here.
Rural development criteria,
Mr. Mehrotra, one minute.
for about 22 lakh families in the state of Gujarat.
No, Mr.
So that is where
Mr. Vyas, 1 second, please. 1 second. I just want to bring in Mr. Mehrotra. Mr. Mehrotra, put this into perspective for us. Put this into perspective for us, Mr. Mehrotra.
Yeah. You see, the 10 rupee 80 paisa number would have prevailed in 99-2000. That's absolutely right. However, we all know that the Planning Commission has revised the poverty line, and the Tendulkar poverty line is set at 32 rupees per person per day for urban areas and 26 rupees per person per day for rural areas as of 2011-12. And the point here is that according to these new poverty line, and this is a per person per day, I wanted to emphasize that for a family of 5, in urban areas,
no, do you find it strange, Mr. Mehrotra? Do you find it strange that the updated figures have not been put out by the Gujarat government? That they've relied on...
That's strange. I mean, perhaps there's been Rahul, you're right. It's a bit surprising because perhaps there's been a mistake, perhaps. All I
Mistake,
can say
they're
is that
saying,
perhaps there's been a mistake.
No, they're saying that you did not inform them. That's what they're saying.
No, well, it's not a question of the Planning Commission informing. It's public knowledge, and it has been notified, no question. However, I think that what the argument that is being made by the Gujarat government, at least the way I've understood it, listening to the spokespersons on television, because I haven't seen anything in writing myself, the way I've understood it is that, you see, there are two things. One is estimating the poor, which is what the Planning Commission does, and then the Ministry of Rural Development identifies the poor. Now, Mr. Vyas is, I think, rightly referring to the identification of the poor, which is supposed to be done on a census-based design by the Ministry of Rural Development, which is what Gujarat has done. and finding numbers too small, they have apparently increased the numbers of those who will be eligible for ration cards by about 1.1 million, because according to them it was coming to sort of 22 million. It should be about 32 million or something.
Yeah.
So they've increased the numbers. So now the point here is that they are seeking, my suspicion is, and every state is seeking higher allocation of grains, cereals, from the union government for the distribution under the PDS.
Yeah.
That's presumably what it is. This is about. In this, I think this number that has been put out of rupees 11 per person per day, which is 12 years old, is perhaps just simply a mistake.
Oh, you're being charitable. No, you're being charitable because a lot of,
no, it's not being charitable.
I'm not suggesting that you're being charitable because you're playing into any one side's arguments. I'm sure that you're rationalizing it. Let me rephrase that. You're rationalizing it, but there are several tonight who don't accept that rationalization because this is a hot button issue. Mr. Modi has gone out there, Mr. Chopra, Dr. Shambhit Patra has gone out there, Mr. Kesavan has gone out there and said many times, Deeptosh Majumdar has said that, look, I have brought down poverty, I've done great work. Numbers don't seem to add up, at least on this one score, Deeptosh.
Numbers don't add up at all, and I think it's both Modi to blame and even what our government economists and what the Congress party says, they are equally to blame. Because the fact of the matter is, rupees 32 is too small an amount, and it calls for an income of approximately 1,000 per person per person,
which is a pittance.
per month.
How can you survive on that? Either which way.
Per person per month. 32 multiplied by 30 gives you 1,000 per person per month. Whereas it should be in today's time, 5 persons should earn a minimum in a family 10,000 per person, 10,000 total of 5 in per month. That should be the minimum, and that even does not take care of his medical expenses. It should be 15,000.
The Planning Commission is already thinking of revising upwards. The Rangarajan Committee is already looking into the matter.
No, that's a different exercise.
And also the fact, and also I think there is a strong suspicion that this is done to reduce the number of BPL persons and essentially ensure that less people are given the food dole.
Exactly. One second. Rahul, just one quick point.
Mr. Kesavan, 1 minute. Let me bring in Mr. Kesavan. Mr. Kesavan, you know, on both sides, the argument holds. You want to manage the figures because on the one side, you want to manage the fiscal deficit. You don't want to be doling out so much money. You don't want to be putting out all of that because you know that when you work backwards, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So why not tweak the numbers in a sense? Tweak the numbers in a sense that leaves out several 100,000 lakhs of people. This cuts both ways. You're all using the poor as a tool to arrive at some end.
Rahul, like you said in the beginning, this is not just about statistics. Here you're dealing with life and death when you leave out people in large numbers here. I think first this is a really cruel joke on the people of Gujarat. I think they should apologize and withdraw this. Not to nitpick and get into the nitty-gritty of statistics, but I just want to say one thing. This circular was issued by the Food and Civil Supplies Department. Basically, large part of PDS comes to this. Let me ask you one simple question. I need a clarification even. The Food Security Act, which was introduced as an ordinance and passed in September, very clearly says in Clause 10, Section 1A, the procurement and allotment is the duty of the center. But why the delineating the eligibility of the beneficiaries is with the state. And it has clearly delinked the poverty criteria set by the Planning Commission for these schemes. Not just this, even for Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Narega, National Rural Health Mission, all these schemes are delinked from a poverty estimate criterion. So with respect to food security and the food civil supplies
department,
give
discretion.
I don't understand the rationale
the state government
of this because they don't need to do this. Let me just say, there are only four deficiencies they can look at. One is social, household, economic and occupational. So it completely befuddles me. Second point I want to raise is from quoting the Gujarat Food and Supplies Department says there are 23.4 lakh families. But the State Health Department says there are 38 lakh families where you
That's
have people
true.
who earn under 11
There's
rupees
even a
in rural,
disparity in that.
17 rupees in urban. So this, take 5 people per family, Rahul. Take 5 people per family. It works out to 1.9 crore people. So you're essentially saying 1.9 crore people out of the 6 crore, let's say 2 crores. 1 out of every 3 Gujaratis are poor. And what is this 13-year-old growth story you want to replicate in India? This is the fallacy. This
Dr.
is the
Patra,
misleading campaign.
before I bring in Mr.
So these are very
Jairam,
fundamental questions I want to
Let him
put forward
complete.
here.
I am very coolly listening to everything. I would like to respond very coolly. As you were saying that the things are unwritten or not, I have the letter of Mr. R.P. Gupta, the Principal Secretary of Food and Civil Department in Gujarat. And let me begin by the concluding notes that he writes. He writes that time and again we have been writing to the central government that please revise this criteria that you have been pushing on us.
It's been revised thrice.
2004.
It's been revised thrice.
No.
Revisions have been made thrice after the one based on 1999-2000 data. The last one based on 2011 data puts... No, 1 minute. This is a fact.
Yes. I'm reading out the letter of the Principal Secretary of a state.
You're the spokesperson of the party. You're going to read that statement because it suits your data puts... No, 1 minute. This is a fact.
Yes. I'm reading out the letter of the Principal Secretary of a state.
You're the spokesperson of the party. You're going to read that statement because it suits your argument.
Not at all.
But the argument will not be sustained by facts. No, 1 minute.
Just a second.
There is also, don't forget, tonight, Dr. Patra, we have someone from the Planning Commission.
Yes.
Who will contradict you within a moment of 10 seconds.
The 2 points.
So please, let's not play fast and loose with the facts.
Don't
not at all.
I have the facts with me. I have the facts with me.
I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
Why is it that a political party that is so well informed, statistically, that has a media department that runs 360 hours in one day, that is overactive, missed out that there are 3 revisions? How is that possible?
Can I answer now? Rahul, first and foremost, I think the Planning Commission guest that we have tonight over here would confer with me by saying that deciding who resides below the below poverty line, in fact, is not something which the state government decides in unison. It has to be with the permission of the centre. So it has to be along with the centre that these criteria are decided. Secondly, and most importantly, as the debate was going on, we pointed out rightly that since the union government only allows 21 lakh families to benefit out of the centre scheme, contrary to this, 32 lakh people...
No, I'm sorry, he's wrong on facts. Now I need to just correct him one point. Now just one point, let me correct him. The central schemes are de-linked from the state has to decide who's poor.
We are not talking about the food security
the allocation.
Not just food security, even
Mr. Chopra,
all your central schemes are de-linked. The fact, one second, the fact that Dr. Patra and his boss, Mr. Narendra Modi is doing this is to show...
Gentlemen, calm down, gentlemen. Calm down.
Dr. Patra, hold on. The fact that Narendra Modi is fudging figures is to show a Gujarat story that does not exist. This is the only reason. The fact is...
Mr. Mehrotra, Mr. Mehrotra,
I just want one thing from Mr. Mehrotra. I just want to ask one thing from Mr. Mehrotra. Mr. Mehrotra, is it not true that as per the Planning Commission data available to us, the poverty level that existed in Gujarat between 2004 and 5 has decreased by a consistent 15% in 2010-11. Is this not the data provided by the Planning Commission?
It's true that the poverty line, according to the Tendulkar line, the higher 32%, 32 rupees per person per day.
Which you have criticized.
It was 31% in 2000. Yes, of course we are criticizing because it's already under revision. But let me come back to Mr. Patra's point that Gujarat's poverty estimate, meaning the incidence of poverty, meaning the proportion of population below the poverty line in 2004-5 was 31%, and it has come down in 2011-12 to 16%. But, you know, the point is that the Planning Commission has already clearly stated that under the Food Security Bill, Act, you know, these poverty cutoffs are not to be used for allocation of cereals to the state government.
Absolutely.
And
no BPL.
So, no, this has been put out.
Deeptosh, isn't it frightening?
It's already
isn't it frightening
I have a
that
fear.
what is so obvious, what is so obvious is being denied. It's being denied by both sides, and that is what frightens us, because there's a reality that stares back at us in our faces, and the political parties, for various different ends, selfish ones at that, tinker with this data and bandy it about so callously.
It's a contradiction between the politics of dole and the economics of dole. Dole has to be given out. Politicians will bandy about it, but the problem is they don't want to give out the dole to the extent there is requirement of it, and that is which comes through in this entire game of facts.
So the poor are being used, you're saying, Deeptosh?
Absolutely, absolutely, and by both parties equally.
Mr. Chopra, you know, we have a situation here tonight, and you represent the left. The left that has argued for 100% coverage, and perhaps zero discretion, if I might say so. Zero discretion, obviously. You listen to these two political parties. What do you have to say to them?
Well, I'm not surprised for a minute, because I know that what these parties are trying to do is that they are trying to pursue the same policies, the one and the other. And because these policies have been discredited, and we are now down to 4.5% growth, they want some other method to cheer up the people who have been looting this country.
Leakages.
And who have got more than
The middlemen.
5 lakh crores in tax relief.
Absolutely.
And it is these people who are now both interested in actually wiping out the poor from the slate and not realizing that these are human beings and they will not get wiped out like this, they'll fight.
Mr. Kesavan, yes, Deeptosh.
I just wanted to make a point, quick point. You know, on the peripheries at the top of the BPL category are now being discussed, are now being described as neo-middle classes by Mr. Modi, and by Rahul Gandhi, the percentage ready to come up to the middle classes by Rahul Gandhi.
Mr. Kesavan, respond. Mr. Kesavan, respond to this. It's a spin, isn't it?
I just want to say, respond to the point before too. Strong, uncharitable words were used. Let me just reply with facts. The UPA 1 and UPA 2 is the only government in history which has adopted a rights-based approach to give legal entitlement to the people of India and empower its citizens. So if you say that the Congress party doesn't look out for the
big
poor,
words, sir, big
I just
words.
want to say, dear sir,
What's happening on the ground? Who's benefiting on the ground? Big words. There is data. No, I'll be very careful. You're talking about statistics and facts.
Rahul, let me. I'll give you data. You have elders here. You take the Planning Commission's record when the Prime Minister spoke. 22% have been removed from the poverty line. 14 crore people, specifically 13.8 crore people have been moved out of the poverty line. That's what the UPA has done. That is data for you. Second thing I want to mention
That's
with respect
according
to
to
food
UPA's
security.
That's only on present papers that the poverty
See,
line
as
fought by
the elderly
UPA.
gentleman said, let me complete please. So when you talk about food security, it covers 82 crore people. If you apply the Food Security Act as it was envisaged to Gujarat, 52%, 3.57 crores will be benefited. Why are these people being denied by the government of Gujarat with these BPL statistics which are not necessary to implement? And let me make one more point, Rahul. This is, I just want to say this. This has not been mentioned here before. This is about the double standards, of BJP. Recently, we had a, very good development, very rare development in the BJP. They claimed that a good gentleman who belongs to the fisherman community, Chunubai Goyal, went to the Rajya Sabha. Very, very appreciable, commendable, initiative by the BJP. But you should see the contradiction. If you take the Vapi industrial corridor in Valsad district, 7,000 fishermen have lost their jobs because of industrial pollutions, and the water bodies have been polluted. So on one side, while they talk about, a very good deed of saying a fisherman went into Rajya Sabha, on the other side, 7,000 fishermen have been denied jobs.
Yes,
what kind of hypocrisy is this?
Those questions are for you.
See, first and foremost, First and foremost, in democracy, I believe the ultimate, most intelligent person is the one who votes. And if time and again they believe that Mr. Narendra Modi has performed for them, I believe we have to listen to them. We have to agree to the facts what the Gujaratis speak, the Gujarati Asmita that we talk of. Secondly, and most importantly, on this debate of yours, Rahul, number of statistics is flying. 5 crores, 6 crores, this amount, that number.
True.
But let me tell you one thing very categorically. Democracy is not about the nuances of statistics and about the figures.
But science
it is
is.
about, it is about
science
just a second, just a second,
yeah.
sir. It is
Science is about
just a
numbers.
second, sir.
Exactly.
Science
All I
may
need to
be,
come in, just
just
one
a
point.
second. Science may be, but perception
Are
and the
we-
nuance-
are we reducing?
No,
Are we
Dr.
reducing?
Patra, you're a doctor.
Yes,
You're
the Congress-
scientifically,
Rahul
Gandhi says it is state of mind.
No, 1 minute.
It
The
is
Congress
state of
reduces
mind.
poverty to a state of mind.
Yes.
And the
you are
BJP
talking about
reduces
science.
poverty to a number.
If you are saying it's
The
science,
BJP
state of mind.
BJP reduces poverty to a number. The Congress reduces it to a state of mind. Mr. Chopra, how greater an irony can there be than this?
You see, you don't need irony. The people of Delhi have shown that Rahul and Ketu are the same wherever they are. So I'm not particularly worried. The coming elections will show you much more of this, of different kinds. But the important thing is that you cannot take away the rights of people with numbers, just as you cannot remove the rights of people as a state of mind.
I respect that point of yours, which is why the UP is the only government that's given a rights-based approach. That did not happen so far. Point number 2, and I slightly...
They're not implementing
rights-
it.
No, but that has to be implemented now.
making
But
it seem-
Rahul,
you're making
give me
it
a chance
seem-
to let me put my
you're
points
making-
across.
You're
Rahul,
dressing
please.
up patronage.
I'm
as
not putting on
empowerment.
patronage. Hold on.
You are
Can I please-
dressing up. You are
can I-
dressing up. One
can I
minute.
please
There's a
make my point?
criticism here. No, 1 second.
Of
No,
course.
we'll come to this point because you raised it.
Yes.
And I want to pick
But it's
you
a
up on it.
rights-based
I want
approach.
to pick
That's
you up
a
on it.
fact.
You know, you
That's a
cannot
fact.
dress up patronage, state patronage.
Right.
The way, you know, our imperial overlords at one time used
Of
to
course.
open their...
Which
you
is
know,
which is why there's a difference between patronage and
As-
rights-based
as
approach.
empowerment.
I'm sorry.
How
There's
is
a
this
difference.
empowerment?
I'll explain to you.
Study after
Let me
study
explain to you,
points
Rahul.
towards dependency.
No, let me
Points
explain
towards
to you. Let me
what
explain
is
to
known
you.
as aid addiction.
Let me explain to you now.
Am I wrong?
You're absolutely wrong.
Am
Now
I
let me-
wrong?
You're wrong because I'll
Am I
explain to
wrong?
you.
How
You're
am I
wrong.
wrong?
I'll
No,
explain
no,
to you.
no.
The
How am I
fact
wrong?
of the fact is, Rahul.
I'll tell you-
the fact-
I'll tell you
No,
what-
Deepak, I'm not
Deepak,
done.
Majumdar,
Let me
am I
make
wrong?
one point. I've
Let
got
me
one
make
point.
one point.
Let
Am
me
I wrong?
make 2 points. Number 1, in a rights-based approach, you can take your government to court. The right to education, if you do not get an education, take your government
Yes,
to court.
you
You
expect
can
a
take your
poor-
government to
you
court.
expect
Hold
a
on.
poor
Now,
man
come
who
on,
can't- who
Rahul,
doesn't
I've
have
been,
2 rupees.
Rahul, you have
Who
to let
doesn't
me
have
speak.
2 rupees.
Rahul, you have to let me speak. Well, they're the ones who are mocking the poor and not giving them the benefits. The state government has to
Mocking the
identify.
poor?
However, come on, let me make
Oh
my
my
point.
God.
Where Deeptosh is
You are
slightly
going to
wrong.
reduce to history
Where
after 2014.
Where
You are mocking the poor.
Without judicial reforms, without judicial reforms, these are all meaningless.
Where Deeptosh is
No, no, no.
slightly wrong, where Deeptosh is slightly wrong is 32 rupees is not income based, it's consumption based, which leads to 4,500 rupees consumption that is separate from income. Please be
Okay.
very clear.
No, no.
One very last
I'm
point.
not saying
One
We've
last
got
point,
the-
sir.
Mr.
I'm
Mehrotra.
giving you
Sir,
income,
one second. But it should be
Sir,
10,000.
BPL and APL have been given away in these schemes. Therefore, you have universal benefits where was 62%
No,
or
1 second, 1
64%
second. I have a
people.
quibble. I have a
Every
quibble.
single Indian will
gone
get
out of the top.
education.
I have
It's
a quibble.
right-based approach. Your BPL, APL,
I have
because you
a
understand of these
fundamental quibble with
controversies,
what Mr.
have been
Poonawala
given
is
away.
saying.
Right.
Mr. Poonawala, I have a quibble. I have
Fair
a
enough.
quibble. You said, oh, well, you know, the rights-based approach.
Yes.
If the state government falters, the distinction is that a poor person can go to the courts and demand
Or
his
various
right.
grievous
You know,
mechanisms.
yes. Where are these grievous
They've been,
mechanisms?
right. Now let me explain
Where are
that
they?
to you.
Where
Let me
are
explain
they?
that. Let me explain
Where are
that.
they?
to you.
When there are no
Let-
reforms,
No, no,
they're
no,
not
let-
even judicial reforms.
No, let me explain that to you.
There are hardly
Let's
any
talk.
judges.
Let's talk in
Where are the
particular.
forums?
Okay. Now let's talk in particular about the food security bill. The food security bill, Chapter 7, talks about absolute reforms.
Don't tell us
Why
what
don't
was
you
bills.
security
Okay,
It's
so
about
it's about the
implementation.
education bill.
It's
Today-
about implementation.
Today,
It all comes
of
down
course,
to
and implementation
implementation.
does not happen because people like Narendra Modi want to fudge figures so they can market
Fudge
Gujarat.
figures? Narendra
They can
Modi?
market.
Is
They
that
can
so?
market
My
Gujarat
God.
as
Also,
a
Mr.
territory.
Vyas.
Don't be
Is that
hilarious.
so?
Don't
One
be
minute,
hilarious.
Mr. Jainanayan Vyas, is that the case? Is Narendra Modi fudging figures?
Absolutely fudging.
Is he fudging figures? Mr. Jainanayan Vyas. Mr. Vyas. Mr. Vyas, are you there with us? I think we've lost Mr. Vyas
Rahul,
there for
if
a few
anyone
seconds.
has tried to fudge with
Yeah.
India's
Rahul,
economy...
may I come in, please?
Yeah.
I-
Yes,
I've been
Mr.
wanting to come
Mehrotra.
in on
Just
this
a, Mr.
numbers
Mehrotra,
thing.
just
Yes,
a second,
Mr.
because it was a direct
If I
question to
may.
BJP. Just a second, Mr. Mehrotra, because it was a direct question to BJP, let me first answer. I believe if anyone has fudged with the economy of this country, I need not reiterate it as just the UP and the Congress alone, because much has been seen by the people of this country, and as Mr. Chopra was saying, Delhi has rightly voted. Delhi has voted for the BJP as the single largest party. Let me remind you, it is not the Aam Aadmi Party as you were obliquely suggesting. So BJP has been focused as the most important power center in almost the 5 states that we saw.
Okay, I just want to go to Mr.
I'm talking of the recent present.
You've been wiped out of South India.
Gentlemen, 1 minute, please. Gentlemen.
Selective belief in democracy.
One minute.
The selective belief in democracy.
The
What happened to South India,
I just
East
want
India,
1 minute.
and the 2 UPA governments that came to power?
Mr. Poonawala, one second. Mr. Mehrotra wanted to make a point.
Yeah.
Let him make a point, and then I believe that Mr. Vyas is back with us. I just want to go back to him. But Mr. Mehrotra, you first, please.
Rahul, I'll be very brief. I'm only going to talk about the estimates of the poor, and we have had a consistent estimate and a consistent poverty line, the Tendulkar poverty line, and it has been used to examine how many people came above the poverty line, rose above the poverty line since 1999 up to 2011-12. So we have a number for 99-2000 to 2004-5, and we have a number from 2004-5 to 2011-12. And the numbers are as follows, that in the first half of the decade, meaning 99-2000 to 2004-5, about 20 million people came out of the poverty line, about 2 crores. But after 2004-5, from 2004-5 to 11-12, 140 million, half of the decade, meaning 99-2000 to 2004-5, about 20 million people came out of the poverty line, about 2 crores. But after 2004-5, from 2004-5 to 11-12, 140 million, meaning 14 crores people actually came out of the poverty line. This is unprecedented in the history of our country. So this fact has to be recognized. It's certainly good news, and this is my last point, and is that...
No, but these Tendulkar figures are being revised themselves.
Yes.
Because they're proven to be inadequate.
They will get... No, not yet.
And they
That's
don't
when,
cover
that's
21
only going to
million
happen.
calories
I'm sorry,
per day
Why
per
are
that's
we
going to
making
happen.
ourselves feel so
I'm sorry,
good?
Rahul.
Why are
Sorry.
we
It
making
doesn't
ourselves
touch upon
feel
medical
so
expenses
good?
also.
Not
Exactly.
even 100 calories per day, which is necessary.
Rich only
It's
on papers.
perfectly
Why was it 16
possible.
rupees
It's
in
perfectly possible.
Before the BJP
1 minute,
is
1 minute, please. Yes.
It's perfectly possible that this poverty line will get revised upwards. That committee, chaired by Dr. Rangarajan, is already meeting, and it's highly likely that later in the year that it will report. But the fact of the matter is that an emerging market economy can have 2 poverty lines. It can have the Tendulkar one can be an extreme poverty line. You can have a higher poverty line. Every Latin American country actually has 2 poverty lines. So we should, as our income levels go up, there's nothing surprising that you can have 2.
Okay, but we're running out of time.
Income
We're running out
levels
of
are
time.
not
1 minute.
going
We're
up.
running out of time. I just want the 2 principal protagonists to have their say.
Rahul.
1 second, Mr. Keshavan. One
Rahul.
second. 1 second. I'm coming to you. I'll give you the last word. We're running out of time, Mr. Keshavan. I'm going to give you the last word, but I have to go back to Mr. Vyas. Mr. Vyas, are these figures being fudged by the Modi government to make him look good? Simple question.
He has
Mr.
ended
Vyas.
up looking bad.
No, Rahul. No. It's not true, Rahul, because this is not our definition. Ministry of Rural Development has their own criteria, and they are not income linked. Again, I'm telling you, they are asset linked criteria. And therefore, the bulk of our poverty...
so you're throwing back statistics.
Nothing to do with the income.
You're
It is
throwing
asset
back
linked
a
poverty
blanket
link.
denial. You're throwing back a blanket denial, which has not been borne out, sir. Which has not been borne out. But very quickly, Mr. Keshavan. No, 1 minute. Mr. Keshavan, defend the point. Because many people are saying that you're also selectively, 1 second, gentlemen,
Rahul,
that you're also selectively leaning on numbers.
No, I am leaning on the numbers given by the contradictory departments of the Gujarat government. Let's take the health department.
No, please,
number
let's
of
elevate
34
this.
lakh
Let's not
families.
get,
Even if you
1
take
minute,
this
1 minute,
number of
gentlemen.
11 and 17 rupees per day.
Gentlemen.
No, I just want to say,
No, neither sides, let's be honest tonight, neither sides are referencing the Planning Commission's revised figures. Let's be honest. Come on. Tonight, let's be honest. Mr. Kesavan.
Rahul, the Planning Commission's esteemed member has said, has accepted with my point that 14 crore people have been moved out of poverty. All I'm saying is, according to this data, Gujarat government has 2 crore people earning only 11 to 17 rupees per day, which is 1/3 of the number of people in Gujarat. Every 1 out of 3 people in Gujarat are in penury. If in 13 years this is your growth story and you want to replicate this to India, the people of India are not watching, and the fundamental fact here is the government of Gujarat makes the rich richer and the poor poorer. They are not concerned about the 6 crore Gujaratis, they are worried about the welfare of a few crorepati's.
No, not at all.
I'm sorry, that's a silly argument to make. But ask him a question. Why was it 16 rupees during the NDA rule? That was the same figure. So before you come here on national television,
don't misquote your
we have an eminent gentleman from the Planning Commission, so do not come on national television with such figures.
Let's agree to disagree. Let's wind this up tonight. Let's agree to disagree, but rather uncharitably, and I have to be uncharitable tonight to the two principal parties, Deeptosh, to all of those who are listening in, isn't it a fact tonight that poverty has been reduced to a statistic?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And we must go by the fact that the World Bank criteria, that $1.25 per day, per person per day, should be fixed as the minimum consumption limit for every person.
Because that will actually mean deliverance with a certain degree.
Line is what it is that.
But it should go up from there. It should go up from there.
What it actually shows is that if we were to take that yardstick, then we could also perhaps sit back and say that finally development with that human touch might actually take place and become a reality. Till then, unfortunately, these debates are going to continue to rage. Statistics are going to be thrown around callously on tables such as these, in newsrooms such as this, and we'll never really have any movement forward or clarity on this particular issue. That's where we leave it tonight. Join us for the headlines, top stories in a few moments. Don't go away. Very good evening. You're watching India Debates. I'm Rahul Shivshankar. It's a competition between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi to live in denial over poverty. If Rahul Gandhi has famously said, and I quote, that poverty is a state of mind, and if one possesses self-confidence, then one can overcome poverty, end quote, then the Modi government has outdone him today. In a shocking disregard for the material condition of the poor, Modi's government has said that you aren't poor in Gujarat if you earn rupees 11 or more. Of course, the Congress didn't waste any time in targeting Modi over his remark. The central refrain was, if the BJP can attack us for mocking the poor, for setting the poverty line at rupees 32, then it should ask its own leader to apologize for setting the bar at a ridiculous...
Gujarat are income-linked benefits. We have asset-linked benefit poverty assistance program, which is as per the guidelines of Ministry of Rural Development, where they have given 0 to 16 point is considered to be below poverty line, and that is asset-based. If you are staying in a kacha house, you don't have electricity, you don't have water connection, you don't have drainage, you don't have a fan, you don't have television, then there are certain indicators by virtue of which you qualify, irrespective of income. So first of all, let me make very clear that these benefits are delinked from the income limit.
No, Mr. Vyas, we will look at the statistical. No, 1 minute, Mr. Vyas.
With that,
Mr. Vyas, we will look at the statistical aspects, please. We will look at the statistical aspects of this debate in just a few moments. I want to focus on a larger question, a more rhetorical question, which the Congress is asking this evening. They're saying, okay, the BJP insulting rupees 11. What the parties, however, fail to understand is that it's not about statistics. There will always be statistics. The point is how the insulting rupees 11. What the parties, however, fail to understand is that it's not about statistics. There will always be statistics. The point is how the parties are insensitively using poverty as a tool to settle political scores. This is the central debate. And we will be asking direct questions tonight to both the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress. C.R.Kesavan, the spokesperson of the Congress, here with us this evening. Suneet Chopra, senior leader of the CPM, will be with us in just a few moments. Mr. Deeptosh Majumdar, National Affairs Editor of NewsX, here with us in our studios. Santosh Mehrotra, DG IMR, Planning Commission, with us. The Planning Commission is going to play quite a role in this debate because the BJP has come out and said that their figures were based on Planning Commission numbers. Also joining us, Mr. Jayanarayan Vyas, senior leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and Dr. Shambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, who's staying on for this debate. Let me first ask Mr. Jayanarayan Vyas of the Bharatiya Janata Party some straight questions. How is the BJP differentiating itself from the Congress, Mr. Vyas? You have accused the Congress of mocking the poor by coming out with other statistics, with other poverty line figures, but you don't hold back. In fact, you brought the bar down by almost 20 rupees. Dr. Vyas?
So first of all, Rahul, we will have to understand that no more the benefits which are available to the poverty segment in Gujarat
Comes out with all guns blazing when we put out BPL figures, pegged to rupees 32, but have no compunctions about going to town with their rupees 11 poverty line, because it makes Mr. Modi look good. He can go out there and say that he's brought down poverty in his state, that such few people require handouts from the state. Why did he even need to go down this route? Mr. Vyas.
See, precisely, Rahul, that's what I'm telling you. It's not the rupee limit by which we are going. And I definitely stand by my words that there's no limit of 32 rupees or 42 rupees can define you as a poor, because even locations variance can make the poverty line stiff here and there. So we have the poverty line defined by the definition which is altogether different. It's not income linked. It is asset linked poverty line, which is different.
No.